Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit and hang out with you. I'm throwing out the Bear Cave emote into the chat and the Lego and the Scythe emote. If you're currently a subscriber, well, you can reply with those emotes. Let me know you're here. If you're not a subscriber, you can just say hi. Because like Isabella threw a heart in there, which we appreciate. Lastbrook throwing in the emotes. Appreciate that very much. Going to throw my tier 2 emote because I didn't the first time. Hello and welcome. I'm working on a model kit tonight. I expect that this will be done pretty quickly. And I'll give you some background to this as we wait for people to come. Mr. Bob is here. Hello, Mr. Bob. And it's, of course, as I say my hellos. What's an entry grade? You might be asking yourself. Indeed, you see 0079 hype. Indeed. So, here's what an entry grade is. It's the new starter grade. It's the new thing. If someone says to you, hey, I know you build model kits, you build those Gundams and stuff. What should I start with? Where do I begin? And normally you would say, well, you want to try to, normally what I would say, I don't know about you, I'll just say for me. Aristofan is here. Hi, Aristofan. What I would say, the advice I would give is, you want to build a high grade in the 144 scale, and you want to find yourself a kit that is a show you're familiar with. Build something you like and you know, because that's going to be a great starting point. It should hopefully be a kit made, I would say, in the last 5 years, so 2015 plus, maybe even 2012 you go back to. I think kits in this era are fantastic, and the high grades I think are understandable to build, and also I think the instructions have come a very long way in terms of having, for English speakers, and also there are kits that come out in other languages besides Japanese and English, and so I think that's a great starting point. Now, what Bandai is doing is they've introduced the entry grade line, which is the beginner's line. Because some people think an SD Gundam is where you start. You start with Super Deforms, and I disagree. Mostly because SD Gundams require a lot of stickers in order to look good. And this kit has 0 stickers. And the shocking thing about this kit is, this kit does not want me to use, hey, Lord Crashes, and welcome. Sorry. This kit does not want me to use tools. You are meant to just rock out every piece. We rocked out one of the pieces, and we'll be doing that here. You're meant to just go, and there should be, if things are done properly, you're not going to have any, undergate things. You're not going to need to clip anything. You're not going to have any stuff that you're going to have to go back in with your snippers. This should theoretically be a no snipper required kit. There are no stickers. Everything is plastic, layers of plastic. It was also relatively inexpensive, especially some high grades can be pretty pricey if they have been released in a limited quantity. And one of the very cool things about entry grade is, did they start with the granddaddy of Gundams, the Gundam? Yes, they did start with the 782. But also, there are other first grades out there. There is a My Hero Academia first grade. There's a Doraemon first grade. There are a couple Dragon Ball Z first grades, or Dragon Ball Super, I should say, but Dragon Ball first grades. And I think that particularly for me is exciting because one of the bummers about the Figure Rise line is they only made one Naruto figure. And they make a lot of Dragon Ball stuff, and they've made a ton of Kamen Rider. There's also a Kamen Rider. So I love the idea of being able to branch out, because if any of those are very interesting, the Gundam seems to be the only one that has any posability. And Lastbrook, yeah, to me that is a mark of the fact that these are a new attempt of the entry grades. Yeah, these other entry grades I think are a step into other things. Like Kamen Rider, they make a lot of Kamen Rider kits. Dragon Ball, they make a lot of Dragon Ball kits. My Hero Academia, maybe we're going to see some Figure Eyes in the My Hero Academia line if Midoriya or Deku becomes popular in this line. I don't know. I think it's a little experimentation they're trying to see, and I think they're also attempting to reach different markets. They're picking one of the most popular shonen in the world to be like, hey, this is something y'all want? you want to build some model kits of this? Let's check this out. And I think that's like a smart idea. In general, I am excited about entry grade. The booklet, and we'll of course see this over the head, is an international booklet. It has 3 different languages here. Also, lots of talk of assembly, lots of discussion on it. There is even a bit of history in here of which normally you would see this if you went to when conventions were a thing. If you went to a convention and they had a lot of Gundam stuff, official stuff, you would see things like this. And we'll look at it at the overhead too. Explanations like this comes with way more than you would generally find in an instruction book for Gundam. And that's exciting to me. I think that's awesome. Like, the fact that this is just like, hey, go to Gundam.info, y'all. Why not go to Gundam.info and find out more? It's the website, like, for more about this. Like, and they're even saying, like, hey, what's next? If you thought this was cool and you want to try something else, well, why not get a high grade and get a modern high grade? Build a high grade of the kit you're building right now. And I think that's actually a really interesting idea. But yeah, this is the introduction to Gunpla technology. And I just, that's cool. Like, what's Gundam? What's a Gunpla? Just like stuff that like is very cool. I don't know. I'm very impressed with this. When I heard about this, I was like, I want to do this. I want to build this. And so tonight we are going to build this kit, and we are going to attempt to build it without using any tools. We will do this kit the way it is intended to be built, and we will see how we do with that intention. And yeah, things are laid out pretty well here, pretty easy. We'll go to the overhead. Do you think the Gundam people have the Gundam.com domain? Oh, Gundam.cool. I would imagine that Bandai, Sunrise or Namco Bandai, or Bandai specifically, I should say, have any possible Gundam domain. I gotta imagine they got that shit locked down. I feel like you probably can't register a Gundam thing without hearing from somebody. You're getting yourself a lawyer. All right, so let's go to the overhead. I'm going to retweet my tweet, and let's get into it. And yeah, I'm excited to have a new thing to point people at. As I also said, this price point is pretty reasonable. I have I have a few of the other ones on my wish list, and they are, let's see, yeah, the right now the Kamen Rider and the Dragon Ball are $12 with free shipping on Amazon, and Doraemon is $10. And I already bought, because I want to build it in the future, because I was psyched about it. I already picked up Deku, and that one was a little more expensive. That one was $14. Gundam got points to. Oh, it points to something else. So maybe they have info. Yeah, they have info because they don't have Gundam. Is someone is like weird. The reason they have Gundam.info is because somebody for years and years and years has had Gundam.com and has been like waiting for their big payout. And it maybe, I mean, it could be spite. This could all be spite. The reason it's Gundam.info is because they're like, we're not going to pay you, so you can just sit on Gundam.com. We're not paying you. I don't know, maybe. Okay, so we've got our here. Not all of this is in color, which is fine. I wasn't expecting it to be. But yeah, we're going to go through the steps. We're going to rock out some pieces here. And I would say there's only a couple here that I'm a little worried about. But like, I don't know. I don't think the .cool domain has been taken for Gundam. Wow. Well, Lord Crashington, then it might be up for grabs. Perhaps they're not gonna get a bunch of them and redirect them. They're waiting on you to do it, and they're expecting people to do it. All right, so we gotta get 16. So yeah, I just put a little pressure on this, and it came right off. Now, do I like doing that? Right now, I don't at all, but that's just because of my own personal habits of model kit assembly and building. Uh, I, I I am used to using snippers. I've been using some form of some tool to remove pieces my entire career. So that feels weird. This feels very weird. Um, yeah, I think of this overhead piece here, I'm going to feel very weird about removing that. But this piece, not so much. Rock it out, right, nice and easy. Yeah. According to Gundam.cool is apparently owned by some Chinese company. Okay, yeah. Well, we're doing a lot of investigative reporting tonight, so I appreciate that. Thank you all. Um, I thought some people would like to know that Austin Walker, who many of y'all know, if not all of y'all know, um, is going to be a guest soon for the for the Great Gundam Project. I forgot that I couldn't remember if it was the Good Gundam Project or the Great Gundam Project. The Great Gundam Project. Yeah, we're gonna have Austin on as they go through Gundam X, and that is very exciting to me. So that podcast is basically like it's a Patreon. It's like behind a wall, although they are slowly releasing old seasons of stuff. But it's a watch along project, and they're going through all of it. And Austin has been a guest on a bunch of things for shows he's really passionate about. But he's going to be a guest on everything for Gundam X. And Isabella says I need to watch Gundam X anyway, probably. So I would say Gundam X is those little pieces rocking out clean. Yes. Um, are they in the frames with thinner connections than usual? Yeah. And also, I'm sorry, I missed it, Bane. Welcome. Happy to have you here. Howdy to you. Yeah. So these just kind of like, you just kind of put a little pressure on them and they pop off. And they're not leaving any, yeah, they're definitely connected in a way that doesn't leave any extra plastic, any nubbins or anything. This one maybe has a little bit at the very top, but I think any place you're going to see anything, any extras, it's probably going to get covered up. Um, so yeah, they're making it like okay, yeah. So we're gonna layer it. This is somewhat similar to how the Dragon Ball and Kamen Rider kits kind of come together, although they do have stickers about how they're doing layers of plastic. Um, this does remind me a bit of that, so it kind of makes sense that they were using that technology or they were pushing that towards entry grade. The problem with the early internet is grabbing a brand name is something you could do yourself in 1996 before any of these companies knew they were going to have to. Yes, they're going to have a web front. Indeed. I do want to say about Gundam X. Let's talk about. Hey, you know what? Fine. Let's talk about Gundam X for a little bit. Um, Hey, did you know Gundam X was at one time the lowest rated Gundam show in Japan as far as ratings go? The least watched Gundam show for many for quite a little while. And in fact, now it's still the second least watched, right behind SD Defense Force, the Super Deformed Defense Force, which is the only Gundam show that premiered in America. Um, and was pretty popular in the first season, and Japan hated it. They hated Defense Force almost as much as they, even more than they hated X. X did very poorly in Japan. All right, so yeah, I'm just putting a little pressure on here with my fingernail, to kind of rock this back and forth to separate these, and it comes out. It certainly doesn't just like pop off really fast, which is good. It means it will stay on here. But I'm not, at this point anyway, 6 or 7 pieces in, I'm not like stressed about removing them without a snipper. It feels weird. It feels very weird not to use a snipper for this. I can't believe I'm removing pieces like this without a snipper, but I am doing it. And then we'll put A2 15 in. But yeah, they come out pretty easily. And then we'll put this in here. Alright. Yeah. Ooh, that does look nice. I think it looks pretty damn snazzy. Yeah, so here's the thing about Gundam X. The worst thing to happen to After War Gundam X is that it came out after Wing. If it had been G Gundam was the first of the out of the UC. So outside the UC, its own unique story. And G Gundam takes lots of big swings. It has lots of big misses, but it goes for it's just like let's just go full on shonen, have a fighting tournament. Let's just like basically go nonsense with it, right? So it goes nonsense, and I love that. And then Wing is like, let's tell the original Gundam story, but for like teens. Like, actually make it something teens want to watch. And we'll have like pretty boys and like a love story that's like definitely not a positive love story. And like, we'll have our char. Every show should have a char. Let's have a char. And like, let's go for it. Also, let's like make our Gundams fucking dope as hell. And but also not stereotypes. Let's tone back the stereotypes that we had in G. And then X comes along, and X is just like, let's tell a real slow story and not have a lot of Gundam. Let's have like very few, if any, Gundams. Let's have a lot of characters who are not super likable. Hey, we got to bring back new types. Y'all, we didn't have new types. Maybe Hero Yui is a new type. Maybe, probably not. We didn't have U types. We really need some new types in this. And, like, I don't know. Can we be really depressed about how, like, yeah, let's just be really sad. Um, and like, it was very unpopular. X was super not liked. Yeah, indeed. My anime group night just finished the 3 Gundam comp movies. Oh yeah, compilation movies, and there's a lot of talk uh, of looking into X soon. Yeah, so obviously there like Wing isn't light, right? There's nothing light about Wing, but the sadness inherent in X isn't like what we're doing is wrong. It's what they did was wrong. It's a reflection. It's after war. So it's a reflection on the past instead of reflecting on the future or the present and looking towards the future. It's a so it like it's grimy. Uh oh yeah, definitely answered. Uh yes, you could say he's a new type. Yes. Um no, there are definitely new types in Wing, but they don't call them new types. They just call them like special dudes. Like like the original system in the original the Zero system. That's what I was looking for. Zero system. The Zero system like doesn't work unless I actually pulled the wrong piece out. So we'll just put that aside. I definitely pulled the wrong piece. I need A217. We'll find this blue piece later. It was 5 or 6. Oh, it's 5. So that was A15. We'll find that later. Pulled the wrong piece out. But yeah, no. I mean, anyone that could use the zero system is definitely a new type. Like Hero's a new type, but they don't call it that. After X or After War is definitely a show that is just like, yeah, new types are a thing. We'll bring that back. Like there are special moon people, um, and they definitely want to go into that. There's a love story, and it's fine. There are some characters I think are pretty cool. Um, but it's like I said, its gravest sin is that X came after Wing and it wasn't a revolution. It was its own story in its own universe, but it felt way more like it just felt like G took big swings, and then Wing went in a direction, and then X was kind of just like a modernish for its time that also looked, because it was post-apocalypse, it just looked like a dirty, dingy show. It just didn't pop. Uh, uh, oh yeah, only certain people could handle the zero system, and in fact, Quattro definitely he uses it, but he definitely has like problems because that's the reason why there are 5 Gundams. They started with the original Zero, and that the Zero system like messed with people and no one could handle it. So then the five guys just went off and made their own, and then of course the first one just made the wing, which is just a modified wing Zero without the Zero system, which is just which I just love that he was just like, the one we all made is pretty good. I'll just make that one again. I got other stuff going on, I guess he was saying. But yeah, I found out on a rabbit hole the earliest major use of Gundam.com has an IGN badge on it. Gundam.com is not affiliated with Bandai, Sunrise, or their respective trademarks in any official capacity. That sounds like that was a IGN branching off into like anime, or specifically seeing if they could like maybe run a website that was like a Gundam fan site, maybe. That's yeah, that checks out. I think that feels right. Um, okay, so then we need A218. Anyway, um, X they changed the order of episodes, the episode order, like the number, not the episode order in order, the number of episodes they were scheduled to make. So the second half of the show is rushed because they at least knew it didn't get canceled. It just got a decrease in the amount of episodes they were going to be able to make. And so they were aware of that, which is cool because it meant that they could still tell the story, or most of the story they wanted to tell. They just had to speed it up. So the second half of the show, the pace picks up because the first half feels a little slow even for the time, but certainly in a modern context. And bear in mind, I talk about Gundam X. I watched it through fan subs because it was not released. There was no commercial release available in the United States, streaming or home purchase. DVD. The DVD came out in 2016, so it came out on the 30th anniversary. They were finally like, all right, other countries can watch this legally. So I watched it in fan sub form because not only was that the only way to watch it at the time because it wasn't going to get picked up, it was literally. Oh, also a fun fact: the earliest is a blank page that just says Gundam. Yes, they had N64.com. That makes sense. Oh wow. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much, Tom. Tom is raiding with a party of 9. Welcome, raiders. This is the Build With Baer Workshop, and this is kind of a cool night for you to come and hang out because I'm working on a entry grade. This is a brand new thing that Gundam is putting out, or sorry, I should say Bandai is putting out. It is by design meant to be for beginners who want to get into Gunpla, who want to build Gundam. It does not require any tools. There are no stickers, and it's so far anyway been pretty straightforward. And I would even maybe venture to guess, or not venture to guess, I would venture to say it's pretty easy. It is pretty entry grade. So, I hope you enjoy and hang out. We're also talking about an old Gundam series called Gundam X, which is has a lot of a storied career in that it was one of the least one of the least watched and least beloved, one of the worst from a ratings perspective Gundam series of all time. And yeah, it didn't get a release in the United States, an official release in the United States, for 30 years. So I watched it via VHS tapes, which I purchased. And then definitely a couple I traded, but most were purchases. And that was how I watched that show. Illegally at the time, of course, because I wanted to see it. There was talk of the success of Wing led Toonami to want to bring out another Gundam show, because Wing was the first Gundam show that had aired in the U.S. television. So there was talk of, okay, well, what's the next one going to be? And they originally, Toonami asked about Gundam X because it was the next one to come out. And they also wanted G Gundam, which they did eventually get. But at the time, Sunrise was like, no, we want you to put out Gundam. We want you to put out the original series, and we start doing some of the old stuff. So that's why they did that. That is end up the license went to that later. And then G Gundam did come out because they were looking for things that were self-contained, and also. Gundam's violent as shit. The original Gundam is pretty damn violent. And then there's also ports where it's not at all. Um, so they were, they eventually got it because they did want more Gundam. Does this Gundam have a Christian shield with a cross and a machine gun? Is this Gundam a Texan? Um, so it does have an assault rifle. It's not a machine gun, but you're not too far off. And it does have a cross symbol on it, on its shield. This is the original Gundam. It's a Gundam-ass Gundam. This is the granddaddy of them all. The thing that started such fandom. The thing that prevented people from, for many, many years, identifying the fact that these are stories of war and sadness, because, dang it, these robots are cool. And I'm not going to give up the fact that these robots are cool, which is the true and honest and real thing that all lovers of robots, giant mecha robots, if you like Gundam, if you like Transformers, if you like Big O, if you like, any of the old Robo series, even stuff like Ultraman, a thing that you kind of have to accept is that these are tools of destruction. But Voltron, sure, Voltron could definitely fit into that. That to love giant robots is to understand that giant robots are a threat to humanity. Okay, so these are our beam saber holders, which go on the backpack. Classic, the classic thing. You're gonna pull them out like a katana. But unfortunately for this kit, they do not have the beams attached to them. So you cannot hold. You could hold it, I guess, but it wouldn't make much sense because the beam will not come out. It does not come with beams. It is meant for it to be displayed in this way, which I think is fine. Yeah, I recently saw an old trailer and was like, what? I didn't realize Gundam was so serious and asked the questions. Yeah, man. So if you don't want to do too many questions, there are some Gundam shows that don't ask a lot of questions about war and mankind and humanity and that kind of thing. But they're few and far between. I mean, even G Gundam, which is the nonsense Gundam, really is about love and acceptance. But it's also about saving the entire universe from from the ultimate threat of evil. Because it just goes places. But most Gundam is just like, you're not so different, you and I, but war never changes. Oh, fuck, you went and did it. I can't believe you did it. Oh, God. Also, a thing that happens in Gundam, which is wild and nonsense, and I love, is a lot of times the best pilots the best Gundam pilots are people who have had, their families or friends or entire ways of life destroyed by Gundams or other mobile suits. So they really hate that shit, but then also are really good pilots because Gundam just really wants to stick you with a beam saber right in the heart. All right, we are done with this is coming together so easy. I love it. They just put OG Gundam on Funimation. They did indeed. Wow, cool robot. Indeed. Here's the thing. It is a cool robot. Child soldiers that hate fighting get +10 to all attack rolls. I mean, the real things is... And then if you look at Iron-Blooded Orphans. Iron-Blooded Orphans is, in my opinion, the best modern Gundam series because it's not that old. It looks really good and really sharp, and it is its own universe, so you don't have to have hundreds of hours of Gundam knowledge to go into it. You can just go into it cold because it's telling its own story. And the thing with Iron-Blooded Orphans is, it is like, hey, let's not forget about the child soldier part. We seem to forget that, like, all of the main characters in Wing are 15, and that, like, at best, sometimes you got a 17-year-old doing things. Let's not forget that to sell this show, we got to have teens in here, and that show, Iron-Blooded Orphans, definitely goes like, yeah, we're gonna talk about how that's fucked. Like, we're definitely gonna get into that. All right, so I'm gonna do these arms two at a time, which is great. IBO still talks like a Gundam, but it animates and sounds more like a modern show. Yes, I would definitely agree with that. Um, that it talks like Gundam. That it has also the core conceit of the style. I shouldn't not core conceit. The style of Gundam presented in that show. That most of these are humanoid shape, obviously, right? Very rarely are they not, and when they're not, it's clear why they're not. They are that something has happened to warp these suits, but they're meant to be humanoid. And all the Gundam in Iron-Blooded Orphans have like a demonic kind of thing to. They have like claws, not all of them, but a lot of them do, and they're all hunched over. And so there's an animalistic demon thing going on there that is it's not subtle, but it is like really interesting to me anyway, to just go there, and I think it's reflective. Also, there's a lot of while there's still swords, there are a lot of weapons in that show that are brutal. Instead of just like a beam gun, there's a lot of like tools to destroy other things, like slowly. It's kind of amazing. As a 30-year-old who still doesn't trust adults because of reasons, I can get behind the fuck all the adults part of IBO. Yeah, I mean it is going for that. Like it is a generation, looking around them and blaming the adults, rightfully so, and then fighting for their own piece of some sort of freedom or whatever they're looking for, whatever they can find, really. Place in the world, security, all of that. Uh, they, you know, there are some Gundam shows that like look outside of like build fighters. There's not a lot of Gundam that is like light viewing, really. Um, and that's the hallmark of almost all big robot shows. Almost every big robot show is like, hey, robots are a tool, and like they leave a path of destruction, and we're going to talk about that. Um, and that's basically just about all big robot, all mecha kind of anime. OG Gundam feels like it asks a lot of questions, but it asks one question: "Hey, war is on. You need to fight. What do you fight for?" And then just follows all the characters that say, "I don't know. I'm 4 to 19." That's a pretty good explanation of Gundam. Yeah, it's a lot of like, "Why are we doing this?" And then we'll keep doing it, or we will stop doing it for a while, but then we'll do it again. It is a lot of the futility of it. And some of them are wild and bonkers. But yeah, I like how an IBO weapon could just be a big metal ass club. Yes, or the jaws of life, basically a giant version of like bolt cutters. Slash jaws of life can be just a weapon, a viable weapon. Um, yeah, there are a lot of beautiful Gundam shows. Uh, and just about every, like I said, just about every big mech show has more going on than just this is cool. Um, just about anyway. Most of them are trying to say something. I mean, even Dual was trying to say something. And that was honestly just the guy that created Tenchi Muyo wanting to make his version of Evangelion. Um, it's it's a not fucked up, honestly not really fucked up version of Evangelion, and kind of rules. Dual kind of fucking rules. Um, uh, I like. Oh yes, definitely. 83 is a nice change of pace because it does feel like the adults are talking kind of a show. Uh, but yeah, Dual's not a good show, but Dual is a great show if that makes any sense. Uh, as someone who definitely fell out of love with Evangelion, to have like another weird humanoid biomechanical mech show with young people that looked like like the art style of Tenchi Muyo, but was telling its own story. Uh, and as someone who liked Photon, like yeah, Dual is pretty great. I don't know if there's a way to watch Dual legally. I think you'd have to find torrents of it. Is my guess. I don't think whoever had it in the U.S. has it like is in operation right now. Uh, oh no, yeah. Aldo, yes. Ash mentions yes. Alnoa Zero. It doesn't have as much to say. I would agree. Yeah, no, I think that one. I think that show is more of an attempt to tell personal stories in that kind of world, um, and I think that it fails because it gives up trying to tell a personal story. Uh, um, because I think eventually it just goes like, all right, well, we can't really keep talking about these characters. We got to like wrap up this plot that we built for ourselves. Uh, I was talking on Twitter today, kind of like musing out loud. Um, so I've watched a lot of Tenchi Muyo series. I've watched a lot of them. I also watched, speaking of mobile suits and organic mobile suits, I also watched War on Geminar, which is a spin-off series in the Tenchi Muyo universe, focusing on Tenchi's younger brother, who travels to a different world. It's an isekai. It's a harem isekai instead of an inverted isekai like Tenchi Muyo is. So he travels to a different world and he pilots some mechs, but he doesn't really pilot mechs that much. It's mostly him being a good boy and meeting a lot of cool ladies who fall in love with them. And also there's like a plot and it's evil or whatever, and it's tied into the Tenchi universe. The thing is, I didn't know that Tenchi had a younger brother named Kenshi, who the character from War and Geminar, because I didn't watch Tenchi Muyo Ryoki seasons 4 and 5. In season 3, Tenchi's dad meets a new lady in his life, and then 4 is part of it is his kid growing up and other things happening. Um, but 4, uh, Sand Voxel, we are talking about the wild, weird world of Tenchi Muyo. Tenchi Muyo was an OVA series that eventually had Tenchi Universe, which was they were big hits of Toonami back in the day in the U.S. And pretty big hits in Japan. But Tenchi Universe is a TV show version of of sorts of the OVAs, which are just original things that existed. And they didn't stop making Tenchi Muyo. They kept making Tenchi Muyo over the years. Uh, it's just that it didn't like come over here. Well, now Crunchyroll has season 4, and season 5. There are 2 more episodes coming out next year, but they have most of season 5 now, and I think I'm gonna watch them. So there's a break coming up where all the shows I watch kind of ends around Christmas before the new stuff starts in January, and I think during that break I'm gonna get caught up on Tenchi Muyo, because it's a series I really like. As I said, I watched the spin-off War and Geminar. I watched the not really Tenchi Muyo in space one, I can't remember, which is weird, but I watched it when it came out. I've watched Universe and Tenchi in Tokyo, which you can skip. I'm saying that I've watched the movies. Uh, I think I watched most of Pretty Sammy, the other spin-off. Um, I've watched a lot of Tenchi Muyo shows. Uh, what are some you're watching from this season? I had no idea Tenchi Muyo was still a thing. Yeah, Lastbrook, Tenchi Muyo is still a thing. Um, and the U.S. called it Tenchi Muyo War on Geminar. It was just called War on Geminar in Japan because it's like on a paid channel. It's basically like, what if HBO was just like, hey, can you make more Tenchi? And then the guy that makes Tenchi was like, how about another thing? And they were like, does it feature a guy that looks like Tenchi? And he was like, yes. And they're like, sure. make it that other thing. Um, but yes, they keep making it. So in the second hour, I will actually talk about some anime I'm watching this season. But I'm watching a bunch of stuff because one of the things I do on this stream is I talk about the anime that I'm currently watching. But I'll tell you just a brief overview of some of the things I'm super into right now. Um, so let's see. By the Grace of the Gods is the best isekai this season. We'll just go back. We'll do some categories. The best isekai this season is By the Grace of the Gods. It's very slow, and there was some cool action, but most of it is just like this reincarnated sweet boy being nice and doing things and uh, changing people's lives. And it's a good little one. Um, Let's see. What else am I watching? Yeah, there's a lot of anime this season that's very good. This is a packed season because last season was kind of slow because of COVID, because of the shutdown in Japan. A lot of stuff got postponed, and now it's all out. Um, let's see. What else are standouts this season? Oh, the second half of this season of Haikyuu is very good. A couple of the episodes look kind of bad. It looks like some of that was definitely farmed out, which is a shame because some of the episodes, like as I said, don't look incredible, but Haikyuu is very good this season. Some very good boys doing their volleyball thing. I would say that's probably the best sports anime of the season. Um, the anime that none of your friends are watching, and no one will ever heard of, but will be one of my favorites this season, is my Setsu opening act. I don't know anyone who's watching my Setsu opening act, and that's okay because it's one of those shows where it's like um it's one of those cozy slice of lives where a bunch of girls like a thing and they get really invested in the thing and really explore that thing, but the thing they really like is a particular brand of stand-up comedy that is only popular in Japan. Manzai, which is duo comedy. It's basically Laurel and Hardy style, like back and forth. It's who's on first, but it has its own cultural differences and its own uniqueness to Japan. Which is still a somewhat popular form of comedy. But it's basically girls who want to do a particular style of comedy, the anime. And so I don't know why anyone would be super into it, but people that think about comedy all the time, like I do, that are the idea that an anime mentioned the concept of improv and also dedicated 2 episodes to a comedy theaters in Osaka. Like, that doesn't happen. We don't get that. This show features real comedians playing themselves. Now, are they famous? No. But they're known actual comedians in Japan because part of the production company that's making it are the people that like manage these comedians that are in it, but also comedy writers worked on the show that don't work on anime. So it's like, for me, it's like incredible, and I totally understand why no one else I know is watching it. I mean, girls just being into things isn't the worst genre show. No, of course. Ash, girls being really into a thing is a staple, and also one of my favorite genres. Now, that could be like K-On!, or that could be Laid Back Camp. That could be Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater, which is due to the COVID and it being delayed, kind of got a bum rap this year because it's an excellent show. But it definitely got lost. It didn't hit too hard when it came back, but I love that show. That's a show about girls, a girl finding out that she loves fishing, and girls that already knew they loved fishing. That's a lovely girls being into a thing anime. Next season, we're getting a high school knitting group. I can't wait for that anime. I don't care about knitting at all, but I have friends who love knitting so much, and I'm so happy they're getting an anime. Uh, Over the Moon for You makes me very happy inside. Yeah, finished a route for one of the girls, didn't lead to romance. Oh, you got me interested. A while ago, I found this VN on Steam that was basically the same topic. Uh, didn't lead to romance. Picking them as your comedy duo partner. I love that in a visual novel. That like you just end up making a comedy group. That's awesome. Um, So the thing with Over the Moon for you is it's a very saccharine, sweet show, and I appreciate that. I'm not in the right mindset for that right now. So that's a show I'll definitely come back to. Um, because his name is NASA, some of the sites that don't quite know what they're talking about all the time had said that it was a sci-fi show, and it's not a sci-fi show. And I thought it was, and I was more interested in that, but it's not. It's just a sweet show about two very young people who got married and then fell in love, and it's adorable. But I like the idea that there might be something weird about it, and there isn't anything weird about it. Really, I mean, it's just like a nice romantic comedy. But I guess I'm just not in the mood for that. Yeah, it is just like a guy meets the girl of his dreams, and then he almost dies, and then he like says like, "Hey, marry me," and then when she's older, she shows up one day and she's like, "Hey, let's do this," and he's like, "Absolutely." And he's very cute, and she's very cute, and she's weirder than she originally lets on, which I like. But yeah, I think it's a sweet show, and I like that it exists. But as I said, originally I thought it might be weirder than it was, and I was excited about that because romantic comedy anime isn't usually that weird. And I like my anime to be weird. Usually it's weird because it's inappropriate or just fucked up. Like that's the weird part. Like my girl, I didn't watch uh, My Girlfriend Is a Son of a Bitch. I didn't watch that show, but that's like usually when romantic comedy anime is weird. It's like uh, it's that kind of weird where it's just like my girlfriend looks cute, but she's very dirty and she has a dirty mind. And oh, what am I gonna do with her? Like that's usually weird to in anime, and that's not my style. Uh, I'm sorry. What did you say it was called? Uh, so I think it was like I think the U.S. version is my girlfriend is a snow bitch or something. Is no bitch like that, but it's my girlfriend is a son of a bitch. Is one of them. I believe that is the official U.S. translation of the name. Um, it is a yeah. It is a romantic comedy that I have no interest in. Or like next season we're getting another series, a series two of season two of uh, the quintessential quintuplets. That is a hard name of a show to say. The quintessential quintuplets. There are five girls that and a guy has to tutor them, and there are feelings, and that's the show. And there's hijinks, and there are some real. The quintuplets has some real like best girl characters. There's like at least one character I feel like doesn't get enough time, but there's like a lot of cool ladies in it. But also towards the end of the first season, you find out the main character is the way he is because he used to be kind of a rebel, but then he met a sweet girl who kind of turned him around, and he's been kind of chasing that ideal of like meeting her. And it's definitely one of the quintuplets, but he doesn't realize it. And and I'm just like, boo, boo. It doesn't have to be fate. There's already enough going on with the show. But that's pretty okay. It's fine. Uh, it's no We Never Learn, which is fantastic. We Never Learn is a fantastic show. That's a good romantic comedy show, with the possible exception of the fact that it has one of my least favorite tropes in anime, which is the teacher who possibly could have feelings for the male main character and who is a mess. I just don't like that particular thing. I know I'm somewhat alone in that because it's a trope that just continues to exist, but I've never been a fan of that. I don't like unreliable teacher characters. It's just not my thing. But especially I don't enjoy uh, characters who are like maybe having feelings for the main character, because this is like, no, you're an adult, you gotta stop this. Yeah, just not my thing. Just not my thing. Anyway, I'm watching a lot of shows, and we'll talk about that in the second hour. This kit is coming together really well. I knew it would. I knew this would be a one-stream build at most, because this is designed to be easy to do. This is the entry. It is meant to be your first model kit, and I think that's awesome. I'm excited to work on a few other ones and see how they stack up. But yeah, this is coming together pretty straightforward. I could see this maybe being a little stressful for people that haven't done it before, but I am not a professional. I do not claim to be a professional. I am an enthusiast, but I am an enthusiast with a lot of build hours under my belt, and a lot of experience working on kits. So while I am definitely not a professional builder by any stretch, and I still mess up, and I still screw up, and there are times where I'm looking at instructions going, this doesn't make any sense. Why is it? What am I supposed to be doing here? Which I just did the other day. I can still put together a kit with very little worry. I still kind of know what I'm doing. I'm never super stressed about that part. But yeah, this is coming together pretty easy. Is it still fun to build as someone for whom it's not your intro to kit building? Yeah, so I would say that if I built all of these, I would probably eventually, like, this is the only Gundam that's out right now, but there's other kits. There's a Midoriya or Deku kit. There are some Dragon Ball kits. There's a Kamen Rider kit. I would say eventually I would probably get a little bored with this, but there is something very novel about the fact that I'm doing this without any tools, that there are no stickers. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it. I talked about, for those that have been watching the streams, you know that we built that hit collection thing. We built that 1-to-1 scale cup noodle kit. And that cup noodle kit had the best booklet I've ever seen for any kind of model kit. It had like details about the history. It was a love letter to cup noodle, and this is the closest thing I've seen to anything like that. It's nowhere near as detailed and wonderful as that, but it's one of the only booklets I've ever kept, because it was just like, this fucking rules. I want this. I want to keep it. I want to keep this as an example of an incredible booklet. Instruction booklet. So, yeah, but I do think that there's a lot of detail in this that I'm really appreciating that they're putting in here. So, but yeah, we're getting close there. We're gonna take a pause for the cause in a moment or two, and we'll talk about ways you can support the channel and do all that. For those that came in because of Tom, a thing that I do every week is, every stream, not every week, every stream. Is I take a little break and just kind of promote myself a little bit, because I am a streamer that I need a nap. Take care. Well, you take care, Ash. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Enjoy your nap. Dirty just subscribed. Thank you so much. And I got an emote because of that. Hell yeah. Thank you, Dirty, for that. So we're going to throw the old applause in. I got my soundboard. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And also, Dirty wants me to hit that gong for new folks that are just coming in. First, if you're a subscriber, let's throw the barricade leg of the site them in the chat and thank Dirty for renewing their subscription. That's 16 months. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. And another thing we're going to do is, I got this gong. An old roommate left this gong behind, and it's a channel points thing where I will hit this gong if you use your channel points for it. So we're doing that now. And we did that now. And Lord Crashton also wants me to hit that gong, so let's hit that gong. I hit that gong. My roommate moved out and left this behind, and I said, do you want this? And he was like, no, you can throw it out. And I was like, I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to make it a channel points reward because it's a gong. It's a decorative gong that he definitely bought for a sketch comedy bit. Did he end up doing that sketch comedy bit? I don't know. But he did buy it, and it's mine now, which I'm very happy with. I'm very happy to own that. It traveled me from New York to South Carolina, and my dad saw it and was like, "Why do you have that?" And I was like, "Comedy. It's a fun comedy thing to have." But yeah, we will take a pause to the cause in a little bit, and it's just me talking about ways that you can support the channel if you want to, because I am a streamer. I'm an affiliate here, and I did pick a very expensive thing to do. It's my own fault, so don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to put the blame on anyone else but myself. I'm the one that decided that instead of just playing video games and having to buy video games every once in a while and playing them until I was bored with it or my audience was bored with it, that I would build model kits, a thing that you build and then you're done with, and then you don't build anymore. And then you're just like, well, done with this thing. Time to move on to the next one. Gotta go get it. I made that choice, but at the same time, it's an expensive thing to do. So I do my ad break and basically ask people, let people know ways, not ask them, let people know ways they can support the channel if they were so inclined to do so. And we're going to be doing that in a moment or two. In the second hour, I'll talk about some anime I watched since the last stream that I had. And then we'll continue working on this kit. And I'm going to give you a preview here, folks. The next thing we're working on, because it's in my backlog for a really long time, is so old. We're talking about the most modern of modern kits, the entry grade. Came out this year. It is the most modern thing Bandai put out. We're going to talk about a very old kit. A kit from the year 2001. A kit that's so old that it comes with an insert, which is a thing that I wish they would bring back, because these inserts are incredible. I love these kits so much. Things. So yeah, we're going to build an RGM-79G GM. Which is a fantastic, very old suit. This kit is from the year 2001. So it is 19 years old. And, oh boy, if you're like, Pat, isn't that from the worst era of model kits? And you would be correct. Because they tried a bunch of stuff in the 90s, and some of it worked. And then in the early 2000s, they tried a bunch of other things, and many of that did not work at all. This is a bad era. Great mobile suits. Bad era of design. But it did come with this insert, which I love and miss very much. But yeah, this is a good indication of how old this kit is. This is a master grade, and it comes with all of these rubber connectors, all of these PC parts. This is so much for a master grade to have. This is unbelievable. It's such an old kit. Ridiculous. But that's a future build. That's the next thing we're working on. Because every once in a while, I buy a very old model kit. That looks like it's for a perfect grade. Yeah, exactly. That's just how the era worked. That ball joints were the rage. Okay. So I'm going to snap these parts on, and then we're going to take our pause for the cause. And I'll talk about ways you can support the channel. It's brief. Harold just subscribed Tier 1. That's 37 months on a 35-month streak. Thank you so much, Harold. I appreciate that very much. The applause. Looks like people got some emotes. That's rad. Harold, thank you for your continued support, as always, my friend. I always appreciate that. But yeah, and thank you also for hosting. That is nice of you as well. All right, well, you came in just at the right time, because it's time for a pause for the cause. As I said, hey, folks, if you're new to this, we will get to other stuff very soon. Can't stay, but I want to drop the host and the sub. Well, thank you, Harold, for that. I appreciate it very much. Folks, this will be pretty short. I'm just going to talk about ways you can support the channel. First and foremost, if you're not already following the channel, please do. I build model kits on Monday and Thursday and Saturday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. I don't do longer than 2 hours, because after 2 hours, I start getting a little loopy and run out of things to talk about. So we do 2 hours, and on Wednesdays I do something else, usually some kind of game thing. So make sure you follow, check me out in the future, because I appreciate that. You could subscribe. Let's throw the emotes in the chat. Let the people see the cool emotes we got here. We got the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote, all made by Xandra, the lovely Xandra. Xandra on Twitter. Xandra made these fantastic emotes, which I'm always grateful for, because they just look rad. It's me as a Lego person and me as a Death Scythe. What more could you ask for? And then also Bear Cave, which is the You're in the bear cave right now. If you're here, you're part of the bear cave. If you're a subscriber, you're in the bear cave with me. Because I'm Pat Bear. Anyway, I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel. Becoming a subscriber is a great way to support the channel. Now, you could pay cash money and do that way. You know, hook up your credit card or whatever, or your debit card. You could use your Prime Gaming token because you have Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch. And believe me, if you don't use it for me, use it for somebody else because that's money on the table. You know, like you should be spending that on somebody. And if it's for me, well, that's rad, and I appreciate it. Gifting subs is a way to support what I do. You could gift a sub to somebody else. We've had a few gifters last month, and at least it's a cave and not a cave. Indeed. We've had no gifts, no cheers this month, but it's the beginning of December, so that's okay. But gifting a sub is a great way to help somebody else in the community if you already are a subscriber, or if you just don't feel like doing it for yourself, you can do it for someone else. You can also do that anonymously if you like. And bits and coins are always appreciated. The threshold we're looking to always be at is 40 subscribers. We're currently over 40 subscribers, which is great. Thank you for your continued support, people. We'll get back to building in a minute or two, but I want to continue to promote myself for a little bit here. You can join my Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. That is a place to go if you would like to do it in a different way outside to support me, but not do it through Twitch. I got a $1 tier, a $3 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier. And there are different rewards for each tier, and I appreciate anyone who joins me on the Patreon. That is a great way to support what I do outside of this. And you just keep me going because everything I get through Patreon and Twitch and other revenue streams goes into buying more model kits. There is direct money. If you just want to do a one-time thing or use my Coffee and my Streamlabs. If you use Streamlabs, it appears here in the overlay because Streamlabs is what I use to do my, like, this person just subscribed or this person is rating, those kind of things. But if you want to do it through Coffee or through PayPal, that's anonymous. And that all goes into building model kits as well, as I said. Now, I bought the kit we're working on right now with my own money through the Patreon. Actually, it came out of Patreon funds. And like I said, I got another kit. I got kits I want to work on. And I'm going to work on those in the order that I choose. Except if you say, hey, no, Pat, you build this kit next. Well, to do that, you have to buy it. And I have an Amazon wish list for that. As I said, I'll quickly go through this. I put up a bunch of the other entry grades because I would like to try out. I've done a lot of Dragon Ball kits. I would like to try out an entry grade Dragon Ball kit and see how that works. I've never built a Doraemon before. I would like to build a Doraemon. That just sounds like a nonsense thing that we could do. And also, there's a Kamen Rider, which we've done before. I wouldn't mind seeing the entry grade Kamen Rider. I've got some high-grade kits in here. I've got some Lego sets. I've got a Enterprise from Enterprise, the NX1. The Polar Lights kits are weird. That's a lot of stickers. If you want to see me do a lot of water transfer stickers, we could do that. More expensive high grades on here. The real grade version of the kit we're currently working on. A bunch of different stuff on there. And as I said, if you buy it on that, it comes to me in the mail, and I build it before I'll build anything else. You get to jump the queue with the thing you bought. And I cannot stress enough how much it helps me out if you buy a kit, if you want to, if you'd like to. Again, you don't have to. And the alternative to that is to buy me a gift card to USA Gundam Store. You go in there, you buy a gift card, then you send me a DM on Twitter with the code because you get sent to your email. If you want to avoid Amazon, which I totally understand. Believe me, if there was an easy way to do a wish list where you could buy something and it gets sent to me and you don't find out what my address is, I would do that in a heartbeat for like USA Gundam Store, Gundam Planet, or one of those. Unfortunately, a Amazon wish list on another site like that, there are wish lists, but they're not meant for that. Does not exist in as far as I know. Let's see. What do I want to say now? Oh, yeah, I have a Discord. Hey, here's a free thing. Here's the thing you could do that's free. You could join my Discord. My Discord is free for you to join if you'd like. Put that right in there. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, what's up, YouTube? You can find the links to everything I'm mentioning here in the show description. Put all those links in there. A couple of videos I'd like you to watch. Pat Bear's Anime Club is an ongoing video series every other week where I talk about an anime topic that's interesting to me. This latest video I did is dedicated to 3 anime shows that I wish I had started watching sooner, that have had many episodes before I got on board with it. And I was like, oh, I wish I had started watching this from day one. I wish I had like listened to people or not listened to people, depending, and just gone for it. But that is the topic of that Pat Bear's Anime Club. And of course, Bearing the List is another video series that I do where I rank things using Tier Maker, and I'm almost done with it. This one, I ranked fruits, so you can watch that. I am almost done. I recorded next week's, and I have, I believe, 3 more after that, because it's part of my year-long project where I come up with an idea, and I do it every week for a whole year. This is the second year of that. The first year was a thing where I improvised characters based on a random image on my green screen. This year has been doing tier maker videos every week. And next year, I am not going to tell you what the topic is or the idea is, but I will tell you the title, which is Bear With Me. So the idea is something where the title is Bear, like my name is spelled, with me. And we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but that'll start in January. Basically, I think like the first Wednesday in January will be the first one. All right. Okay, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna drink a little water. We're gonna get back to building. I'm gonna talk about some anime that I watched in the past couple days. This is the second hour. We're talking about anime. Real quick, I'll say this before I start talking about anime that I watched past few days. Welcome to everybody that's here. I'm going to talk about some shows. I will just say real quickly that I have beaten Yakuza 7, and my takeaway from Yakuza 7 is it is one of my favorite games this year, but also I didn't play a lot of new games this year. So while it is one of, if not my favorite, it doesn't have a lot of competition, and it also has a lot of fucking problems. Dan the Brad is now following. Thank you, Dan, for the follow. Appreciate that. All right, let's get back to the overhead. Let's get back to this entry grade and see how we're doing with this. We're still working on the legs. We're going to work on the back of the legs, so let's do that. We don't have a lot left to put together with this kit. But, yeah, Yakuza 7 I think is very good. It continues to be a game built by people who love JRPGs, like Square JRPGs, but maybe not built by people that know how to make them. So the second iteration, I'm looking forward to. I think 8, if they stick with this, will be really cool. But hopefully they are taking a lot of feedback. That's my opinion. All right. We are now going to put our legs together. Like I said, we are almost done with this kit. We are almost done and ready to get into some nonsense, which will be a very old model kit. But I'm going to talk about some anime right now. I love that Christian isn't here. Christian is the person that kept asking me about, am I going to watch Jujutsu Kaisen? And then I also skipped an episode, and he's the person who most wanted to know what I thought of that episode that I skipped. So, I love that he's not here for me to say. This episode, Jujutsu Kaisen, is pretty okay, but it is setting up a thing that I am not interested in, which is a villain who is being manipulated by an evil energy. I am not interested in that at all. Y'all, I do not care about this Yoshino guy. I do not care that he is a high school student who has been bullied. I do not care because he seems to not really care that that they were murdered, and he is pretty fascinated by this spirit that he has met, who's, I kept forgetting his name. His name is Mahito. And I can't believe I forget the name Mahito, because it's the name Mahito. But anyway, the cool shit from this episode, the honest to God cool shit from this episode, is a new character. We got a former student of Gojo's who is, because Gojo is busy doing something, which is, convenient, but whatever. Gojo's busy doing something. So, Yuji is hanging out with Nanami. And Nanami's curse power basically. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Dan. I appreciate that so much. Thanks for using your Twitch Prime coin. Gonna hit the old applause. Thank you so much. And if you're a subscriber, you can throw the emotes in the chat. Let Dan show off to all those non-subscribers out there the cool subscription thing where you get cool emotes. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dan. Nanami's ability basically means that he always hits critical strikes. And that's a very cool nonsense ability to have. That he's always critical crit rolling. And I think that's awesome. Also, he thought that being a sorcerer, which is the spirit sorcerer, the curse sorcerer, was bullshit. So he quit, or he graduated. He didn't go into the field. Then he went into he got a regular salary job, and then he realized that that's also bullshit. So if both things are bullshit, he might as well do the thing he's good at, which is being a sorcerer, which I think is a fun justification for his whole character. Also, we get to see Yuji's abilities. And so the thing about Yuji is that this is the dude that, like, still kind of can't see spirit stuff. He's still training. He's still not great at all the stuff he's doing. But his spirit energy is actually delayed when he releases it, which is unusual. Most people, like, that is not the case. So he'll punch a guy, or a spirit, I should say, and then his energy will hit. So he's basically doing double punches, and because Yuji is already, oh, thank you, yeah. Because Yuji is already incredibly strong, like superhuman strong, he's already doing damage with his fist, and then you get hit again with his energy. And also, if you block his fist, I'm gonna cough. Pardon me. If you block his fist, you still have to deal with the energy that's coming a second later, which you're not expecting. So it's like really good for him. Turns out the curses they were just fighting, which is a fucked up thing, were humans that were modified by some sort of curse into curses themselves. And that's not good. And then Yuji's going to go and investigate the kid Yoshino. And I hope this doesn't take a lot of episodes, but I bet it does. And then while he's doing that, it looks like Manami's going to go and fight the curse. Which sounds fucked up. And I hope it turns out okay, because this character seems pretty neat. So yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, like, I don't know, it's great. It's good. Here's the thing. Yuji is still a good boy. He's still part of the good boy crew. The modern protagonist in a shonen series who is just like a nice person and isn't just inherently selfish. The Dekus, the Astas, Tanjiros, you're good boys. You're just real good boys. He's also part of the dumb boy, good boy crew, but he's still enjoyable. I still like him as a character. We're body complete, y'all. This came together. This is a breeze. If you've never built a model kit and this is a thing that you would like to try, I would say hunt down an entry grade kit because this has been a pleasure to build. Building a model kit without using my snippers, like I haven't used these at all. That's so weird. All right, Black Clover. Hey, we're still in a filler arc, but a thing happened here that I guess happens in the manga. So it's technically manga canon, even though we're in the filler arc. I'm actually maybe a little worried about releasing this, so I'm gonna try to use my nail a little bit here. I just don't want this to snap off, but it's. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll just do that. There it goes. It came off. I was a little worried about this because it's a little thin, but no problems. Anyway, yeah, we got some actual storyline shit in this episode, which is that. So if you've been watching Black Clover, you may remember Langris and how he sucks. he was like one of the first Magic Knights that you could see that was being evilly influenced by something, but he also is a shitlord. He sucks. Um, he picked a fight with our boy Yuno, and was basically like, "Hey, let's spar, and whoever loses has to quit the Golden Dawn." And he's like, "Sure, I'll do that." Yuno just agrees because Yuno definitely sees through him and is like, "You just want to quit. You want to give up your responsibility, and you want to take it out on me, or whatever." But anyway, they fight, and actually, I'll say this: the fight is pretty good. We are only a couple episodes away from our previous to the best looking episode in all of the filler, the fight scenes between the captains, and so this looked great. And Langus quits and goes on a journey, which I guess he does, but he'll probably reappear because he does reappear in the manga, I guess. So that was kind of interesting that he hasn't quite quit yet. I was actually surprised about that. Wait, did I do this wrong? Gotta do this. I want to put this on the. I want to put this so it's holding its hand. I gotta see what I'm doing on that wrong. There we go. There we go. Got it. That took a little bit of work, but we got it. And yeah, that's the kit. Anyway, then Magna got accepted to be able to go train in the Heart Kingdom, and that's gonna be our next episode. Is finally them going to train, which I think is in flashback canon to the manga. So hopefully it'll be good. But yeah, we're gonna get a bunch of people going and training, and that's gonna be awesome. So yeah, a fine enough episode of Black Clover, better than a lot of this, the current filler, but not exactly what I would like. And we are done here. It's time to take a photo before we move on to our next kit. Yeah, entry grade kits. This is pretty rad. I think these are very cool. I'm a big fan. This was very easy to assemble, but I had fun assembling it, so I would recommend it if you are looking to get into it, or if it's been a long time and you just want to like try out something, get into something. We'll take a couple different photos of this. But yeah, it's bendable. It's not the most posable Gundam I've ever worked on, but it's also sturdy, and I appreciate that. And it was very inexpensive, and I think it looks pretty damn neat. Oh, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a pan. I want to do a photo. Nope, I don't want to do that either. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. That was a pleasant build to do, and it's a small little kit, but I think it looks rad. And now we're gonna move on to our next thing, and I'm gonna tell you about Kuma Bear. That's right. As we move on to the RGM 79G GM. That's right. Or as I'm going to keep calling it from now, the RGM. We're going to work on the RGM. This is a kit from the year 2000. Wait, what is the the possibility? Seems really good. Yes. I was saying I was surprised about how posable it is. So it does have a lot of movement, which I'm actually honestly surprised about for a kit like this, the entry grade. No problem, Lastbrook. Yeah. So we got a lot of arm movement. We got a lot of leg movement. I am pleasantly surprised about how flexible it is. And it's pretty great. Yeah, I am, for the price point and for how easy it was to assemble. I wish it had beam sabers instead of just the holders, but that's the only thing that I wish. Yes, it is for what it is. I think it's very, very, very posable and sturdy. And I appreciate both those things. But we'll say goodbye to that as we get ready. I'm going to need some snipper clips here. I can't remember. I think I'm going to need a screwdriver as well. I'm pretty sure I'm also going to need a screwdriver for this. We got some stickers here. Uh, we've got our big old booklet from the year 2001. Yeah, we're going to work on this here. The RGM-79 GGM. This is a very old instruction book, as you can see. And yes, there are screws. That is the bummer part of this kit, 100%, in my opinion. This is the era of using screws in order to get the results you're looking for. And that sucks so much. I hate it so much that they were like, well, we had a problem with stability in the past, so let's just get screws. Let's just give you a bag of 2 different kinds of screws. Now, the nice thing is, there are 2 types here, but only one has the nut, and the other one is just a regular screw. So I know which ones are going to go in there. Without occasionally there are multiples, and that gets rough. There's some transfer stickers. I'm not going to worry about that. We got some other little minor things in here. Honestly, the fact that there aren't more stickers is great. The fact that there aren't more screws is great. Because it's just all connectors. Really quickly, I'll tell you about Kuma Baer. Kuma Baer is a great show. I after watching this is episode 9, I was like, they could just end this here. The only real reason why they wouldn't end it here is because there's a character in the opening that we haven't met yet. So I'm assuming that's the next thing we're going to do, which will be the end of this, is meeting this new character. But we'll get a little introduction on that. So Dan, this is the RGM-78. I'm gonna go and do the official when in doubt. Like I know like GM. We're gonna go to the old Gundam wiki and really get the whole lowdown on this one, because it's just so much easier. From the old the Gundam wiki on fandom is just so fantastic. But yeah, this is 8th MS team, which is fantastic. First appearance is the 8th MS team, and it is the GM is the ground type, so it's basically just like it's meant for just walking around getting stuff done on Earth, and although there was the early type, whatever. It's great. It's got your beam sabers, your machine guns. It is a solid early kit, but yeah, you can see it in 8th MS. And I'm looking at all the other shows it's in. Yeah, it's in the 8th MS, Miller's Report, and it's in some manga, and it's in some games too. As I said, this is a very old kit, but it's a good one. So I am excited to work on this. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Kuma Baer. This episode is just like the last episode of By the Grace of the Gods. This one's about opening a business, and that's a little weird. But basically, everyone's been telling Yuna, you should open a restaurant. Your food is so good. She's just making the foods that she misses from Earth, or from her reality. So she's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna make any. I wouldn't want to open a restaurant. It would get in my way of my adventuring style. But anyway, they go to she and her buddy, Fina, go and get some souvenirs, and they're going to go get some food, because that's kind of a lot of what they do is go and eat food. And she's just like, hey, oh no, this woman and her daughter, their restaurant, or their bakery is closed. They make really good bread. Mornin and Karen. And then Yuna's like, hey, come with me. I'm going to open a restaurant in the town I live in. Uh, Come there, be the head chef, and employees of my restaurant. And so then they open up this place, and if you're watching the show, you know that there are also orphans that Yuna's been looking out for. Well, they get hired to work there, and I have mixed feelings about that. I know it's a fantasy, whatever, but I'm like, nah, it would be cool if these kids could be kids, but it also is good if they can have a business that does well, so they don't have to worry about just living off charity. Yuna's mom becomes a manager. They end up wearing uniforms that are bear costumes, and all the kids are like totally into that. Everyone loves the bear costumes because they all love Yuna. So they name it Bear Haven, and it's very popular because Yuna is a bear or wears a bear costume. And anyway, everyone really likes it, and it's all kind of bear themed, and it actually goes too well. But then a bunch of people show up to help, including some of her adventurer friends. And yeah, a bunch of people show up to help her out because she's definitely gonna have to hire more people. And it is a nice episode where good things happen. Hey, Dirty, welcome, welcome. But yeah, this episode of Kuma Bear was just kind of like nice. I guess they're gonna have to hire more people, and it could have been the end of the series as far as I'm concerned. Although, as I said, there is a character in the opening song that we have not met yet, so I assume that we will meet this new character very soon. And then Noblesse we finished off the flashback in Noblesse, and it was pretty fucking cool because I have been interested in finding out more about what the fuck is going on in the show and the history of uh, one of my favorite characters of the show, Frankenstein, because he's a human with extraordinary powers named fucking Frankenstein. So I wanted to know what his deal was and why he's immortal if he's a human. And I found out why he's immortal. And he is basically immortal because he. Okay, I gotta make sure I'm doing all this right. Sorry. This goes like this. I have messed up arms so many times on kits of this era that I'm like overly cautious right now about getting this right. All right, this lined up. This looks right. Okay. Because I got to put a screw in here. But I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Because that's right. I got to put a screw in this kit. But I'm making sure that this all looks right. This all looks right. Okay. Because what I don't want to have to do is get my screwdriver out and take a screw out. Because kits of this era, even though they are using screws, honestly, this hole is not meant. It's not like worn for a screw to go in and out. Once you put a screw in here, you're not supposed to take it out. It is meant to like seal it basically. So if I fuck up, it can be difficult to get these out. It is honestly very annoying. All right, so then we're gonna look at it this way. We'll put this on here. Yeah, so now I have to just basically screw this into here. Anyway, Noblesse, we see that. We see Frankenstein's past a bit and how he became a servant of Rai. And how, because they've shared blood and they had a blood pact, that's why he is able to outlive humans to an extraordinary degree. And it looks like, what's his name? Yujutsu, the other vampire noble, is like, I'm going to try to keep your secret because I know you're happy here. But the vampire lord, who has a lot of issues with, basically, she blames Rai for the death of her father. She is going to send some dude whose name I can't remember to go and get Sierra. And so there's going to be a conflict. And, going to have to use his powers. It's going to be a whole thing. But yeah, I thought this flashback was kind of cool because it really just explained a character that I was interested in. Noblesse is pretty fucking dope. I like it. All the other characters have to be so interesting because Rai is kind of a blank slate because he's just an incredibly strong, noble vampire that like a lot of the comedy comes from him being like around wacky people. So I appreciate all the wacky characters that he surrounds himself with, the meta-humans and the vampires and the regular old humans that don't know what the fuck is going on. I like that. I think that is a cool juxtaposition. And then anime Kapibara-san, which is definitely a show for kids, but I still love it. And so if you're looking for a cute show about a capybara and other animals at a refuge, at an animal refuge, anime Kapibara-san is pretty great. And in this episode, we met the caretaker, who literally is called Onisan, which I love that he doesn't have a name. He's just the guy. And turns out that this dude loves capybaras and is so happy to be working with the capybaras and helping the capybaras. And that's literally the whole episode. It's just like this guy being fucking psyched about his job, which is really fun and really cute. He just loves the cappies, and like it's cold, and like a capybara snuggles up to him, and he's just like, "Oh, I hope it's winter forever," because he's just so psyched about hanging out with a capybara. And you know, to be honest, same. Yeah, he's a great little guy. That it's just a cute show. It's just a cute, fun little show. Anime Kapibara-san. It's like a minute and a half long. Comes out on Thursdays, and I know it's for kids because it comes out like Thursday nights, which means that it is a Friday morning show. Okay, so this goes like this. This is here. This slides in. Am I doing this wrong? Okay. It's always fun when you're just like, am I doing this incorrectly or not? It's always enjoyable. And as I said, added benefit of not being able to really understand what's going on because can't. There we go. Oh, that's what I'm missing. There's not any English in this, so it does make that a little more frustrating. It is a interesting juxtaposition from the entry grade, which is the easiest model kit I've ever built in my life, to this, which is trying my patience. On purpose. It is on purpose trying my patience. Okay, so... Well, part of it is I think I took the wrong piece out of here. I did. This is the wrong connector. No, it's the right one. U. This is U. U is the right connector. PCU. Okay, so that is the right one. Thought I put the wrong connector in. Maybe I put it on the wrong way. That's also a possibility. Because everything is hilarious. Is this right? Oh yeah, so that's it for the anime talk. I did want to say about if anybody's been watching professional wrestling, a thing happened in the world of professional wrestling which is really weird, which is the wrestler Sting, who you may know from WCW, and then a very brief stint of wrestling in the WWE before he got very hurt and was forced to retire, and then also went into the Hall of Fame. That Sting has signed a multi-year deal with the wrestling company AEW. Is he going to wrestle? Probably not. I hope he's not. I hope he's going to stay retired. But is he going to show up and do stuff with his baseball bat? Yes, he is. Which I'm glad he had a baseball bat in the WCW days. I tweeted this, so I'm just rehashing my thoughts. Because he is a 60-something-year-old man with a baseball bat, and that's the only thing intimidating to a 30-something-year-old incredible talent. To have like a 30-year-old run scared from a 60-year-old man, you better have a baseball bat, because otherwise that's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. All right, 20s here. AEW definitely makes me feel like I'm 10 to 20 years too young to be watching. None of these nostalgia hit for me. So here's the thing. Their core audience is too young for these characters. Their core audience does not give a shit that Arn Anderson and Sting stared each other down last night. The person who cares the most about all of this shit is Mr. Cody Rhodes, who grew up obviously a WCW kid because his dad worked there, and Sting is his favorite wrestler. Was his favorite wrestler growing up, and now he gets to play with all the toys that he wishes that he wishes he could have played with, that his dad played with, which are humans. But yeah, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, who the fuck cares? Like, I care because I love wrestling. So of course I fucking care that Arn Anderson has a job. I think that rules. But like, come the fuck on. What does Darby Allin give a shit about Sting? Darby Allin wasn't influenced by Sting. Darby Allin was influenced by Jeff Hardy, who was influenced by Sting. Like, there's a generation in between. It doesn't make sense. Like, they definitely want to have their cake and eat it too, right? Because at the same time, the idea that they're going to be doing that on Tuesday, their world champion is going to be on Impact, and they're going to be doing a greater partnership with Impact. Who knows how much of a partnership it's going to be? That's exciting. That's interesting. Even though that's a old as shit company and a weird one, they've been doing some great work, and it's great for both brands to have this kind of interplay. Like, I don't know him from the past, but he's good. Oh, Tony Schiavone gets a pass. Well, Tony Schiavone, like, here's the thing. I think people with a pedigree can certainly do well in, there is something you said. Having Taz as a mouthpiece. You know what Taz is great at? Talking. He's great on the mic. He's great at the announce desk. He's great being a manager. Sting can't talk. He never could cut a promo. His promos are bad. So to have Sting, like, what's he going to be? Darby Allin's coach? Well, fucking Darby Allin, Darby Allin doesn't need that shit. And two, Darby Allin's a better talker than Sting is. It's just so weird. It's such a strange thing. In a company that on the one hand is investing in these young talents like MJF, working with Jericho is huge for MJF. It's so huge for him. It's like, that's a talent that's like got so much. He's going to do so well in this business, and to have like the rub from such a great that is still working today is fantastic. But then when you juxtapose that with like what is Tully Blanchard doing there week to week? He's like in the audience yelling things. Like, what's happening? Why is this happening? I really hope they can do something with the Impact women. Yeah, I think so too. Because their division is great, but like, I would love to see Susie get in the mix there, mix things up. Kimberly, it'd be fantastic to see Kimberly. I will say, part of me is a little sad that Kimberly hasn't been in Impact that long, because her husband just ended his contract with Impact and is signed to NXT, where she went through and then basically was released. And I do feel bad for her that she doesn't get to go to work with her husband, which is, yeah, that's a bummer. They're like ships passing in the night, but they got to work together on the same brand for a little while, in the same company, I should say, for a little while, and that's nice. But yeah. Oh, these hands are these hands are very 2001, y'all. These are very 2001 hands that I am putting together right now. We also have these. We can also just use these big claws. I'm putting together hands that can hold things. We also got big old claws to put together if we want. Yikes. But yeah, I hope the Impact Women's Division is one of the best in the United States right now, if not the best. I would put it on par with NXT, which just has such great talent. Oh boy, Shotzi, man, Shotzi's setting herself up. She could stop wrestling and would be great. She's just such a great character and she just tells a great story. I'm so psyched for her. Yeah, there's just some great ladies in in all those divisions. The real thing that I would love is I would love to see some of the women from AEW go in and do stuff on Impact so they could work with producers that actually know how to write stories for ladies or are interested in doing that. Because that's the thing I always come back to with AEW. My big takeaway from AEW, my always takeaway from AEW is they say they don't want any writers, and I really wish they would hire a couple writers because, oh boy, like, because then you're just down to producers, and you just have to hope that you have producers that want to do stuff with people in the roster. And a lot of times they don't want to do anything with people in the rosters, or they don't know what to do with people in the roster. And it just turns out bad. It's fucking disappointing. All right, we'll put it in our hands. As I said, this hand is very the year 2001, this era of kits. This is the hand that will move around a little bit. And the thumb will constantly fall out and bother me. We are going to wrap the stream up in a little bit. We got a little more time left, but we'll be wrapping up pretty soon. But we are going to go and give a raid, of course. We always got to share the love and spread some joy out there and find a stream to hang out with and go and raid. We'll be doing that in a little bit. My next stream will be Saturday evening. I will be continuing this kit, going very old school. And this will take a little bit of business to do. It'll take a little time to work on this because it is an old-ass kit. And in fact, hey, screw number 2. Our screws are only in our arms. We did one with the screw nut and bolt. Or the bolt, I should say. Or the nut, I should say, not the bolt. And then we'll be going to just the irregular old one here. And we'll get that together, which is D. This is B. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about working on this. As I said, I like working on old kits now and again. They definitely have their charm. There's something kind of cool about an old ass model kit, even if it is sometimes a very frustrating design. The design choices were made that I think are nonsense. They are still pretty cool. So Tony, the 2015 to this era of kits to modern era here is definitely an incredible era. You've got beautiful high grades, just incredibly looking detailed high grades. The RE100 line I think is really fun. The master grades are all top tier, especially because of shows that are creatively really interesting. You end up with, I think, very interesting kits. So that's an era that I've really come to enjoy. And also, I like a mid-90s kit. I really like an old mid-90s to late 90s kit because I love Gundam Wing. I love Gundam Wing and I love G Gundam. So, like, that era kit always speaks to me. Even G Gundam with its rubber feet and rubber hands is such a weird anachronistic thing, but I still kind of love it. But yeah, mid-90s kits have a special place in my heart. They were unstable. You really needed bases in order to make them work, but they had such charm to them that I really, really liked. And then, like I said, modern kits right now, 2015 plus, I would say, maybe even 2014, you probably make a good case for it. But I think that has been the best era of high grades we've ever had. We just get incredible work coming out of that era, of this era. Um, Also, there were 1/100 scale high grades in the mid to late 90s, and 1/100 scale high grades are fantastic. For the time, they were fantastic places to start because all the pieces were huge. They were all really big, and you could do a very good job putting together if you were new. Didn't they re-release the old 70s kits for the 40th anniversary? So Lastbrook, they're the 40th anniversary. They are doing some old kits. They are finally doing um, yeah, some modern takes on it and some re-releases. I haven't really partaken in that. Um, I would say the early '90s is the earliest I've ever built any Gunpla. The oldest kits I've built are, yeah, like I said, from the early '90s, um, and they're fine. Uh, yeah, the early 2000s and mid 2000s are probably my least favorite era. This is the beginning of my least favorite era of kits. The late 2000s are pretty good, and the early 2010s. The early 2010s, they re-released a bunch of kits from the 90s that I liked. So that's where I ended up getting some of them that I've been rebuilding. Um, but yeah, that is an era that I certainly enjoy. All right, we got to get a couple more pieces in here, and then we can get our arm. We'll have a whole arm done. Uh, and then we'll keep working from there. Um, but yeah, it is kind of nice to work on some of these old kits and be like, screws, what's happening here? Heavy plastic that's maybe also a little brittle. What's going on? Stick, like as many connectors as you would find in like a high grade from this era. Like, oh, okay. Well, what are we doing here? Said there are some there are some alternate hands, but we'll just do this hands. That is a nice thing about this era. They give you a lot of hands to build. You get a lot of options, which I really like. We gotta do B7 right over here. Hell yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna put this arm together, and then we will call the stream over, and we will go and raid some cool person. I'll find that out in a moment. I do want to thank everyone for being here. If anybody's still here from Tom's raid, thank you very much. I appreciate you spending some of your time here with me. It's very nice of you. And of course, for all my regulars, my new regulars, and my long-time standbys, thank you for your continued support. As always, always appreciate that. Oh, small little thing, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just part and parcel. My local recording on here on OBS was corrupted of last night's stream, which was my Twitch Sing stream, and before I was able to download the VODs, they were muted because my stream. It's two things. So because my stream disconnected, my local copy got messed up, and because my stream disconnected, I had two copies or two uploads of the VOD, and both of them got muted instantly. So there will be no VOD of my last stream ever in Twitch Sings, which is also one of the reasons why Twitch Sings is going away and why I won't be doing another one before it ends at January 1st. So we'll say goodbye to Twitch Sings. Twitch Sings, what are you even doing? How did you lose two princes? What the fuck? One of the first songs to be added to the service didn't have it in its last month. I mean, I didn't sing in November. It could have been gone for a couple months, but come the fuck on. All right, we're done with an arm. I'm not going to take a photo of this arm. We'll look at it after the Saturday stream. I just want to focus on the entry grade. But that's going to do it. I'm going to go and mute this, and then I'm going to go or mute the audio, I should say. And we're going to go find somebody for us to go raid. I'm sure they'll be fantastic because I follow quite a few awesome people here on this here Twitch service. and a lot of them are West Coasters. So we'll see what they're doing. And all right. Let's see who's playing what, when, and where. Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't want to play that. I don't want to watch that. I don't know what's going on with this. Uh, ooh. Normally I would be all about going to raid my friend Ben, but I know that he wraps up early, so we won't be raiding him. But he's playing the Pokemon trading card game uh, for like the Game Boy Color, I think, and I would love to go see that, but we're not going to go raid him. Uh, Instead, let's go hang out with Jordan in World of Warcraft, motherfucking World of Warcraft, because there's a new expansion, and Jordan's playing World of Warcraft. So we're gonna go raid Jordan because that. Look, sometimes I do miss WoW. Sometimes I do. I'm never gonna play it again, but sometimes I miss it. So it's kind of fun to go and see people play. So feel free to come along on this raid. We're gonna go raid Jordan. He's rad and he's playing WoW, so that'll be fun. Thanks so much for watching the stream. I hope you had a good time. I'll see you in the next Build with Bear, which will be Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're working on our really old kit. Thanks for being here and have a great night. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.